Bucs welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Welcome to my backyard. Y'all know what we do in backyard? We have fun, baby. Fly to the ball today. Release all that energy, baby. I need it. Go get it. Y'all hear me? Y'all ready? Y'all ready?
8 great seasons for Jason Pierre-Paul. He says he's planning on bringing the house down today on this chilly Sunday afternoon in New Jersey. Let's check in for the first time with Shannon Spake. Hi, Shannon.
Hey there, Tom. Oh, boy, he has been waiting 8 months to play on this field, to come back here for the very first time since he was traded earlier this year, Jason Pierre-Paul. He does keep in touch with some of the players on this Giants team, including Eli Manning, who, by the way, was the only Giants to pick up the phone and actually call JPP when he was traded. I asked him if, because of that call, if he had an open shot at Eli Manning today, if he would take it easy on his buddy. He said, no way. He said, I'm taking the shot. I won't get a penalty, but I'm taking the shot, Tom.
Shannon, thank you. The head coach is Dirk Cutter. He's been on the hot seat, 59 years old, out of Pocatello, Idaho. And, of course, Pat Shurmur, one-time head coach in Cleveland in his first season as a head man here in New York. He, along with a general manager, Dave Gettleman, have completely flipped this entire Giants roster upside down from a year ago. So we are underway. Tampa Bay won the toss, elected to defer to the second half, and this is Corey Coleman. He had a big return in the win over the 49ers, a 51-yard return, and this is a good one today. Close to the 40-yard line. Eli Manning, a career high in completion percentage so far this year. The 11 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. 3 of those touchdowns came in the win on Monday night in San Francisco. His 224th start as quarterback of the New York Giants. Won a pair of Super Bowls, over 130 wins as a Giants quarterback, and on first down, that's Saquon Barkley. The rookie out of Penn State, powerful running up to the 44-yard line, close to the 45. The Giants offensively, they've had a hard time scoring early in games. They did score 2 touchdowns in the first 3 quarters last week.
And their offensive line, Tom, probably played their best game of the year last week against the 49ers, both in run blocking and pass protection.
And a big reason for that, the addition of Jamon Brown, picked off waivers from the Los Angeles Rams. Second down, it's Barkley. He's short of the first down. For Tampa Bay, this defense coming off its best game of the year, Chris, against Washington. But other than that, it's been a nightmare.
Yeah, they have a lot of injuries, playing with a lot of young guys. Gerald McCoy and Bo Allen, both of them need to step up today. They're missing Levante David, the heart of that defense. And right there's Mark Duffner, took over for Mike Smith. Simplified things. You'll see a lot of safety in the box. 8th man in the box.
3 straight carries for Barkley. And that is enough for a first down, crossing into Tampa Bay territory. Barkley coming off a career-high 20 carries against the 49ers. He only had 67 rushing yards, but of course he can really puncture you running it or catching it.
Well, here's the thing I like. He's running north and south. Pat Shurmur actually sat down with Saquon Barkley during the week, and they showed him film of Latavius Murray of the Vikings and Dalvin Cook. Everything doesn't have to be a home run. Get north and south, because this operates more efficiently, this offense, 2nd and 6 as opposed to 2nd and 12.
Looking for the long ball, and Odell Beckham Jr., and he's got it inside the 10-yard line.
Right here, Odell Beckham Jr. gets a clean release. They're playing Carlton Davis, a rookie. They have a high-low coverage. Eli Manning places a ball perfectly. You talk to Duffner, they want to reroute wide receivers. If you don't reroute wide receivers, Odell Beckham is too good of a route runner in space to try to cover him.
41-yard pass from Manning to Beckham. First and goal from the 7. And not much room this time for Saquon Barkley. Boy, Odell Beckham Jr. had 4 catches, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns against the 49ers. You were so impressed watching him go through a Giants practice on a Friday afternoon.
Well, exactly. And this is a theme around the National Football League. Great players are always dialed in. And on Fridays, you think it's kind of a walkthrough. Not with OBJ. I mean, you get all the other stuff, I get it. But when it's football time, he's locked and dialed in.
Wide open. And that is a touchdown for Saquon Barkley, and what a drive for the Giants.
You're going to get a lot of in here. This is a lot of picking and screening. And you're going to get Barkley wide open because there's a miscommunication again, which happens a lot with youth. Remember, Quan Alexander, Levante David, guys that are used to passing that coverage off are out of the ball game. And that's a great call by Pat Shurmur to exploit the youth of the second level of the Tampa Bay defense.
Saquon Barkley trying to join Frank Gifford, the only 2 Giants with over 500 rushing and receiving through the front 10.
Sponsored by the Ford F-Series. Built Ford tough, built Ford proud.
Some may love him, some may not, but this guy is just incredible to watch.
Well, he's a great athlete, and you know, I watched him practice, and this is how I judge. I watched Richard Sherman practice, Tyreek Hill, Khalil Mack. On Fridays, those guys are locked and dialed in. His effort, his route running, catching the football on Friday practice when nobody's around is superb. That's why he is a great player, because of his practice habits. I mean, you get all the other stuff, I get it, but I don't care. What he does on the field is special.
So an early 7-0 lead, short kick. Ogunbowale just activated this week with all the injuries on this Tampa Bay team, and he's up to the 27-yard line. Well, he's been here a time or two, is the 35-year-old Arizonan, Ryan Fitzpatrick. His 7th start this year, 125 career starts for 7 different teams. The last couple of games, as many touchdowns as interceptions. That was not the case early on when he was lighting it up.
The last 4 games, he's turned it away 8 times. Protect the ball.
We saw very impressive running from this young man last week, Peyton Barber. And that'll be a gain of a little more than 3. Tampa Bay, one of the most electric offenses in the NFL when they're not turning it over.
Yeah, and it starts up front. Pretty decent on pass blocking. Donovan Smith struggled a little bit last week. You got Braid Howard, Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson, Adam Humphries, Chris Godwin. All those guys are weapons that Fitzpatrick uses.
And Fitzpatrick looking around. He'll run it and slides for a first down up to the 42-yard line. Giants on defense under James Betcher. He left Arizona to come with Shurmur to New York.
And so where can they improve on the defensive side? Only 10 sacks. I asked James about that. Guys have to start winning their individual battles. When you're one-on-one, can you and will you win?
Barber, big running room, and he just runs right through Curtis Riley. Another first down to the 44-yard line.
Well, these guys do a great job of getting the second level, and great patience right here by Peyton Barber. This is Landon Collins right here. Alec Ogletree has to be in that gap. Alec Ogletree gets cut off. He and Landon Collins are in the same gap. Same gap equals disaster for the front 7 of the defense.
15-yard run, and now going to throw it on first down. And again, Fitzpatrick, he runs much better than a lot of people would think. He's a big, strong guy, obviously in his mid-30s, as we mentioned a moment ago. But when he's run it well.
Well, he was great last week scrambling. And he's like the fountain of youth. And that time, I think he could have had more yards. The 41-yard line got credited with its first tackle of the game. But he's excellent as far as keeping the play alive, keeping his eyes downfield, and much more athletic than he gets credit for.
Well, we mentioned last week becoming the first team in the history of the NFL with over 500 total yards of offense and scoring 3 points or fewer. That is Godwin inside the 30. And he's to the 25. For those of you that did not see Tampa Bay in that game last week, 6 times they had the ball inside the Washington 30. They had a field goal. They missed 2 field goals. They had the 3 turnovers inside the 25-yard line, and that's a recipe for simply losing a game.
And Dirk Cutter's contributing to the play calling. Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, resumes play calling after Dirk took it over last week.
Play fake to Barber, all day to throw. And the completed pass to Barber out of the backfield, a gain of close to 4, Shannon.
Well, Tom, Ryan Fitzpatrick told me before the game that certainly there was a ton of disappointment in the locker room and during practice this week. But as you've mentioned so many times, Chris, to see these guys practice, the effort is there, the energy is there. He said that's exactly how it was this week, and definitely positive coming into this game.
You know, sometimes the red zone number can be misleading. We've talked about it many times. As Barber slips inside the 20, he'll be 3 yards short of a first down. You know, we use the example, teams trying to get down the field just to kick a field goal, maybe before the end of a half or at the end of a game. So it can be a little bit skewed. But one thing that can be denied, if you're getting inside the opponent's 25 and you're turning it over and not getting touchdowns, chances are you're not winning a lot of games.
Yeah, and the other thing, on their first missed field goal, Fitzpatrick took a sack off a bad snap.
Yep.
But left a 50-yard field goal, which would have been a 35-yard field goal. So it's all the little things and details. Have they corrected it? 35. Let's find out.
And that is Deshaun Jackson. He's been one of the all-time Giants killers through the years, both with Philadelphia and with Washington. It's a first down.
This is a great play design. Watch, these guys are just going to run off because you have the corner playing so far off. This is just a pitch and catch, and it's a natural pick route. Easy read for Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that's a game planning play right there. Because the outside corner is so off, you just run a natural pick, and Deshaun Jackson folds behind those 2 inside receivers. They become blockers.
Ninth play of the drive, Jacquizz Rodgers, his first carry, and maybe back to the line of scrimmage, perhaps lost a yard. You know, you see Deshaun Jackson in any uniform coming into this stadium, and so many incredible games, incredible moments. None remembered more, of course, than the final game in 2010, the final play of the game when he returned a punt for a touchdown to knock the Giants out of the playoffs. So that ball tipped at the line of scrimmage. Olivier Vernon, who's had a very quiet season, had to battle through an ankle injury, was out the first 5 games, missed 4 games last year with a bum ankle.
As the ball was tipped, second down.
And Vernon only has 1 sack when he has played.
And he's a guy that's their main outside threat. And I thought James Betcher was talking about getting some pressure on the quarterback. And
to 16.
That ball was
16.
not tipped.
No, it wasn't.
And that's a fumble because his arm did not come forward. So if you got a red flag and you're a Giants coach, throw it out.
6-1-0.
Now, Pat Shurmur has not thrown out the challenge flag. I don't know what kind of information he's getting on that Giants sideline, but apparently not enough that would warrant him challenging the call on the field of an incompleted pass. Our Dean Blandino, watching back in Los Angeles on a quick peek, thought that could have been a fumble. Slant inside the 5, close to a first down. The ground calls a fumble there. That is not a fumble. That's Cameron Brate. Dean Blandino back in Los Angeles. Did you see that? What should have been challenged perhaps as a fumble?
You know, it's a fumble because the hand comes forward, but without control. Tampa did recover the loose ball, but it would have been for about an 8-yard loss. So definitely worth the challenge there in that situation, especially in the red zone.
Absolutely. And that's why we were sitting here saying if you're a Giants coach, throw the flag, especially in the first half. Here we go.
Dean, he'll be joining us to rest of the afternoon. And how about this? 4th down and a yard, and Tampa Bay going for it. And you certainly understand this. With their defense giving up as many points as they have, you're going to go for it. The question is, did Fitzpatrick get there?
He's got a pretty good spot right there. Yeah.
Well, they're saying the Giants have the football.
We always say it, Tom. Low man wins. The D-line was much lower than the offensive line. It's not pretty. Up front, always wins the battle.
It is sponsored by Kay Jewelers, for all the moments for love forever.
You know, TB, every football coach in America will talk to you about pad level, and the lower the pads are, the better you are. DeMar Dotson gets stood up because he's too high, and Landon Collins comes free. You see Josh Morrow right there? He stands up DeMar Dotson, not allowing any surge by the Buccaneer offensive line, and they have a good call on because 21, Landon Collins, is running free. But that play is all about winning your individual battle up front, winning your one-on-one battle, with James Betcher, the defensive coordinator, told us. And you knock out DeMar Dotson because of poor technique. That's a win for the Giants, and another blown opportunity in the red zone for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And look, you're going to hear a lot about this, whether you like it or not. There's a measurement. He's that much short, couple of inches. So the last 6 times, the Tampa Bay offense, the #1 overall offense in the NFL, has had the ball inside the opponent's 20. An interception, 2 missed field goals, a fumble, a made field goal, and now give it away on downs. 12-play drive, spanning nearly 70 yards, and you come away with nothing. Now the Giants on 1st down. And that's Barkley for a gain of close to 9.
Because of the lack of production inside for the Tampa Bay defense, and because of the injuries at linebacker, especially to Levante David, to Quan Alexander, I'd run that play 1,000 times. Then somebody would say, Chris, run a different play. And I would say, when they stop it, I will.
Yep. Second down in the yard, and again it is Barkley, and he has 1st down yardage and more up to the 24-yard line. He might set an all-kind attempts mark here in the first half of this game. Got a 20 last week. That's his 6th carry today.
So there's 8 guys in the box, and when you can impose your will on 8 guys in the box, you're in for a long day. And right there, you see Darius Taylor gets cut off where he has a chance, and once again, you see between Pierre Paul and Darius Taylor, 2 men and 1 gap equals disaster for a front 7.
Make it one way, come back the other way. Red Ellison. That'll be a gain of 12, and let's send it back to Carissa Thompson. Hi there.
Hi, Tom. So Lions trailing 7-0 in the first when Kerryon Johnson, the rookie out of Auburn, takes it in for 8 yards, all tied up at 7. Tom?
That's a good-looking young player, Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah, I think he's been a pleasant surprise. That was a great pickup by Bob Quinn in the 2nd round, and added a running back and running production, which the Lions haven't had in a few years.
And of course, Carolina trying to stay very much in the wild card hunt. Coming off of that shellacking last Thursday against the Steelers. Manning gets it away. Catch is made by Eli Penny. And that'll bring up 2nd down after a gain of 2.
Just a little thing here, and this is growth by Carlton Davis. I was watching him specifically on that play because Eli saw one-on-one with OBJ. Carlton Davis, that was an excellent job, 33. You're growing and learning. Now watch, we talk about rerouting, getting physical up at the line of scrimmage. That's what they're begging this kid to do, and he's getting better at it as he's going on and growing and progressing. Excellent.
Started every game, and this is rookie season. They call it a gain of a yard, so on 2nd and 9 and left wide open. And making the catch is Benny Fowler, his 6th catch of this season, and that's another Giants 1st down.
one thing I saw there, just, you know, you got to run to the ball with some sense of urgency. They were in zone coverage, and that's too many yards for a check down. This is a defense that they know they're undermanned. You're playing a lot of zone. See the ball in front of you, break on the football, make a tackle. Offensive line for the Giants passing the grade so far, carrying over from last week.
Set.
Barkley, and then they flip it to Beckham, coming the other way with lots of running room. And that'll be a gain of 11 by Odell Beckham Jr. That is his 5th carry of this season.
So when you're running it and passing it at will, this allows you to dig into the bag of tricks a little bit, and why not get the ball into the hands of an explosive playmaker like OBJ? I mean, that's, we talk about play callers getting in rhythm. What helps a play caller get in rhythm? When you can throw it and run it at will and do what you want. Then they get creative.
Now, granted, you can say what you will about the competition the Giants have played the last 2 weeks, but they look like an entirely different team. And that's a nice play made defensively by the rookie Jordan Whitehead out of Pitt, dropping Barkley behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, they're daring them to throw the football. I mean, you have Whitehead up there closer than linebackers. And I know that Pat Shurmur talked about, regardless if there's a 7-man guy front or an 8-man guy front, we still have to run the ball, but they are challenging the Giants. We'll see if Eli will check off into that situation.
Wayne Gallman Jr. very little playing time this year after really a solid rookie year. He checks into the backfield for the first time. They fake it to him and then dump it to him. And he will pick up a first down and end some. Spun down to the 24-yard line. First touch of the day by Gallman.
You're right, Tom. Last year we had him. I love the kid at Clemson because he gives you everything he has. It's a nice little setup. Again, reverses, screens. And watch at the end of the play, number 13, OBJ. He's not just a pass catcher. He's down here. Look at him. Blocking, blocking, blocking for his guy. That's a team player. That's winning football. That's what I saw on practice on Friday morning. All that stuff. That's why they can win 7 in a row if they keep it going.
118. What's that?
Coleman now after the catch. A nice carry, a gain of close to 7, and that will be the final play of this opening quarter. Very good offense. The difference, the Giants have come away with a touchdown. MetLife Stadium opened its doors in 2010. Surprisingly, the Giants are just a 500 team in this venue. 34 up, 34 down, and they have not won a game here this year. But take a look at the total yards for the Giants. A season high in the first quarter of the game. 139 of them. And Barkley shakes a couple of tackles. And inside the 10. He is dropped right there by Carlton Davis III. Barkley was thinking about the end zone.
Well, talked to Pat Shurmur about this, and Barkley's going to cut it back here. And he said, I want him to get more north and south, but I also don't want to take this away. The missed tackle by Nassib forces Barkley to reverse field, and that's what he's done and made a career of at Penn State, and certainly going to have an explosive career as a Giant, but the great visions, burst, and patience.
Only the 2 players in the history of the league with over 1,000 yards receiving and 1,000 yards rushing in a single year. 2 of the biggest names in the history of the league, and Roger Craig of the 49ers. And Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk of the Rams.
Yeah, I had a great pleasure of playing against both those guys, and such a value for their teams, and a pain in the rear, quite frankly, to prepare for as a defensive coordinator and a linebacker because of their ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. Especially Roger was great. Roger had those high knees. Take one of those to the chops a couple times.
So that explains it.
Yes.
Barkley is into the end zone. Is it a fumble? No, it's a touchdown. Signal has been given by a pair of officials. It's a touchdown for Saquon Barkley.
Again, the cutback. This is an excellent job of the backside of this line, cutting off the pursuit of the Buccaneer defense. Right there. There's the cut right there. The ability to explode and get in the air, and easy touching. Look at that ability to leap. JPP tries to get there. You see him brace himself. Those running backs work on putting that hand on the ground all the time and understanding where you're on the field to reach the ball across the end line.
Boy, what an outstanding looking young player, just 21 years old. Grew up in Whitehall, Pennsylvania. So the Giants have it rolling in the first half for a second straight week. 14-0 G-Men.
Football's a simple game. And let me tell you, when you have 8 men up within tackle-to-tackle box of the offense, one guy has one gap. If one guy gets out of a gap, that's equal 5, 6, 7, or an 80-yard run. The problem with these guys, and they're looking at those pitchers, nobody's in their gaps. And I promise you that's what Mark Duffner is telling them. That's what I know he's telling them. And until they get that worked out, that young man's going to have a career high today.
Well, he's already done something he hasn't done, and there are very few of those things, even through his first 9 games as a pro. That was the longest scoring drive this season for the Giants, starting inside their own 5-yard line. And Barkley, for the first time, with a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown in the same game. We're back after this message from both. Second possession for Tampa Bay, driving 68 yards in 9 plays on its opening possession, but failing on a 4th and a foot. Giants march down the field and lead 14-0 a minute and a half into the second quarter. Fitzpatrick coming out slinging it. And he finds Mike Evans for the first time, a gain of 14. And let's check in with Carissa Thompson.
All right, Tom, big game here. 2 6-3 teams. Texans looking for their 7th straight win. This helps. Deshaun Watson finds DeAndre Hopkins his 8th touchdown of the year. Houston's up 10-0. Tom, Chris, and Shannon.
Hey, all of a sudden, that NFC East in the next 5 days could become extremely interesting again. Because it really hadn't been very interesting to begin the year. Cowboys have not played well, although they're coming off a couple of big wins. There's Barber for a gain of close to 9. And you look at the Redskins, you know, today, obviously already behind. And then here on Fox, Thanksgiving will play the Cowboys. If the Cowboys can find a way to beat Philadelphia today, they're right back in this thing.
Yeah, the issue the Redskins have is they have a beat-up offensive line. We know that. We saw that last week when they played Tampa. The other thing is, I don't know if they have any explosive edge players, wide receivers. That's just a question mark that they have as we progress through the season.
And I'd said Washington, or rather Dallas, playing against Philly. There's a loss. Nice play by Josh Morrow and Landon Collins on a 2nd down and a yard. Now it'll be 3rd down and long.
Well, I think James Betcher does a great job of utilizing this guy, Landon Collins. He's a defensive back. He's a safety. But what he is a linebacker. He had 71 tackles coming into this game. So you have that kind of effort and instincts. So he's a safety with cover skills and linebacker toughness.
And by the way, Dallas is tied in Atlanta 3-3, that game in the second quarter. So here's Fitzpatrick, and down he goes in the arms of Kareem Martin. That is his first sack this year after putting up 4.5 a year ago.
Well, this is what Betcher was talking about. James Betcher, Kareem Martin working inside the big fellow. That's a little stunt in the game, and Benenoch was a little bit late off the zone protection, and he beats him with speed and was able to get back there with the finish. Winning those battles up front. That's their 11th sack on the year as a team.
It's hard to believe. 10 coming into this game. Fielded on one hop. It's Henderson. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. They just brought in Kevin Minter, veteran linebacker. And what a hit he delivered. This is Spielman-like. You like this, Chris?
Yes.
Chris, do you like it?
See ball, get ball. Not that hard.
Preseason, this is a penalty because he's going to hit with the crown of his helmet right there, and he hit him in the side of the face. Now, it's not a point of emphasis, but he could get a fine and a letter saying not to be so mean.
Sacked all the way back close to the 15-yard line is Peyton Manning. Pierre-Paul was in there. The first one there was Nassib. They'll combine on the sack. Nassib's had a good year for this Tampa Bay team.
He's filling in for Vinny Curry, and the one thing you're going to get is every ounce of effort that young man has, and doubles up with a sack. And JPP back there maybe got a half a sack on the stat sheet. I know that was something he was gunning for. Shannon told us about that. There he is.
Eli now in a shotgun, but a delay give to Coleman. It'll bring up third down and an eternity for the Giants. You know, Pierre-Paul talked a lot about not receiving a phone call from anyone in the Giants ownership, although John Mara did send him a text, we are told, one of the Giants' primary owners, and Eli Manning did call Jason Pierre-Paul.
Well, it's a league filled with millennials, so they probably Snapchatted him.
26, 26.
Eli would call though.
Well, Eli's a grown-up.
Yeah.
I know our Shannon Spake had a long conversation with JPP leading up to Tampa Bay flying in here yesterday.
Offense number 77. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
That'll tack on 3 more yards. Shannon?
Yeah, nothing but respect for Eli Manning, certainly, and not only because of that call, but just because of playing with him for so long on this same team. But he did tell me that he was looking forward to maybe taking advantage of this offensive line and getting on the other side of it. But it is the first time he's ever been back in New York since he left. So as you heard him say, he's bringing down the house.
Third down and 18. They need to get up to the 36-yard line, and the ball is jarred loose, but it trickles out of bounds, incomplete. Big hit by Darius Taylor. This is a beat-up defensive side of the ball for Tampa Bay. So many injuries.
Yeah, and it's an outstanding series for this Tampa Bay defense. Remember, last week I thought, and I've done enough Tampa Bay games this year, that was their best effort. Now they maybe can give their offense some type of field position to work with and get back in this thing.
Third-year punter, grew up in Syracuse, played collegiately at Syracuse. Christian Brothers Academy is Riley Dixon. Puts a right foot on it, and Humphreys a fair catch at the 37. So we're in the second quarter in the Meadowlands of New Jersey, and the home team looking for its first home win, leading by 14.
Is sponsored by Cadillac and by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Look at beautiful Central Park in Manhattan. Did you get over there and do a little ice skating, did you, this weekend, Chris?
Yeah, I took a carriage ride with a horse named Rusty. It's nice.
Well, you could have ridden Dusty faster from LaGuardia to Hoboken, New Jersey than you did the traffic jam they had here on Thursday night. Defender fell down, and Mike Evans a catch to the 40-yard line. Well, it's been quite a roller coaster ride for the one-time Jet Ryan Fitzpatrick this year. Everybody was buying that stock early on. First 3 weeks, had 400-yard passing game. First time in the history of the NFL by any quarterback. Then got benched in Chicago. Jameis Winston started the next 3. And then after Winston threw all the interceptions against Cincinnati, Fitzpatrick came back in. But you see, he's lost his last 4 starts. And on first down, strong running by Peyton Barber, close to the 30. And here's Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. So the Redskins have not won a game in which they've trailed all year long, hoping to change that today. This helps Adrian Peterson 3 yards out, his 5th of the year. Texans still lead this one 10-7. Tom?
Well, Carissa, what's even more interesting about that note you just had is the Redskins have not played a game this year where there's been a single lead change in a game. Whatever team scored first won the game. So if the Redskins score, they never have given up a lead the entire game, the entire year. And that's 6-3 record. The 3 games they've lost, they fell behind and never at any point in time came back to take a lead or win.
So we sit around tables and we discuss analytics all day on Saturday, and a lot of it just goes over my head because I'm a simple man. But that one got me. That's unbelievable, that statistic.
There's nothing simple that comes out of Massillon, Ohio. Fitzpatrick, how about throwing into traffic, and the big fellow, Jay Howard, up to get it.
Well,
What an athlete he is.
This is trust. And by the way, it looks like a dangerous throw, but it's not a dangerous throw because Goodson, number 93's back is turned. He knows that O.J. Howard has a height advantage. So all he has to do is throw it and give his guy a chance to get it. And Goodson was a little late getting his head around. The easy pitch and catch. Throw it away from the safeties. Well done. Great ball.
Protection collapses, and Fitzpatrick wisely just throws it away. Looks like Dalvin Tomlinson lost his helmet on that play. Yep, he did.
Yeah, Ryan Jensen took it off. That was an assist from Ryan Jensen. Watch this. And then this gets frustrating for defensive linemen because they get called for hands to the face. Right there, there's one shot to the face. There's a second shot to the face. We got to be able to police that. You talk about player safety. That's one you can't miss. And I know that's not intentional, but you can't miss that one.
Second down and goal. They'll run it. Barber. I tell you, the more we see Peyton Barber, the more you got to like this guy.
Yeah, I said last week in the broadcast, out of all the backs in the league, the guy that I would trust to get me a yard would be Peyton Barber, because he runs and gives you all you get is all he has. And the other thing, O.J. Howard threw the key block right there. Just so you know, that guy's turning into a complete tight end when he catches the ball to receiver, and he's becoming an outstanding inline blocker. They like a two-man game over here.
They're down and goal, and they're going to run it with Barber, and they're not going to get there. So what do you do here, Chris Spielman? It's 4th down and goal. Your defense is getting chewed up outside of the last Giants drive. Are you going for it?
No question. No question. You absolutely go for it. You're on the road, and Godwin's coming in the game. He's your leading red zone receiver. Got a little bit of a tell on the Buccaneers. A lot of times when Barber is behind Fitzpatrick in that formation that we just saw, it's been run. If he's even or in front of him, it's been passed out of shotgun.
And I got to tell you, I am stunned that they have Godwin out of the game. And Justin Watson, a rookie, in the game. And now Fitzpatrick looked like a blown play. He will try and get there, and he does. How about the effort from the 35-year-old Ryan Fitzpatrick in Tampa Bay on the board?
That's all Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now there's a lot of things to go here. They're going to fake the screen. I think it was a quarterback draw, but Ryan Fitzpatrick shows enough patience to run it. Now watch Landon Collins. You see Landon Collins come in low? When you're tackling on the 1-yard line, you never come low. Why? Because the guy just falls over top for you. That's where you got to come and take your shot high, and hopefully you don't get run over. But if you do make great contact, you're going to be able to get through.
Now the question is his elbow down before the ball crosses the plane? It looked like the ball had crossed when the elbow hit. They're still taking a look at it, as they do on every scoring play.
Well, let's see right there. And I don't know where the ball is from that angle, if it's across the line or not. From this angle. But you see what I mean about a low tackle on the goal line? It should be a coaching point. It's a little detail, but Landon has to take his shot high, because then you use your body to protect the goal line so the guy can't go over the top for you and fall forward for 6.
So it is officially deemed a touchdown, and now Cairo Santos just signed this week. They cut loose Chandler Catanzaro, and his point after is good. So Tampa Bay finally getting on the board with a touchdown inside the red zone.
Game is sponsored by Bose, the official sound of the NFL. And by Burger King. Get 10 crispy chicken nuggets for just $1 only at Burger King.
Late play, 64 yards, and the rushing touchdown, the first in the last 7 tries inside the opponent's 25, and Landon Collins really upset.
Wow.
Coming out of the medical tent.
He tackled a 10 high and a garbage can high.
But not Fitzpatrick.
No. That was a great individual effort by Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's a pro play.
Corey Coleman had a big return to begin the day, and he's up to the 27. Man, we are fired up here on Fox because Saturday is E-Day, the game of the year in the heartland of America. College football playoff race on the front burner. Number 4 Michigan headed to Columbus, Ohio to take on Dwayne Haskins and the 10th-ranked mighty Buckeyes. You played in 4 of those, Chris Spielman.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm leaving my feet. Whoever put that tackle together, that should have never left the edit room. But I think I did cause the fumble.
Loose of Jamie Morris.
Caused the fumble. Shane Patterson, by the way, playing really well for Michigan.
How about, though, playing in 4 of those games? I mean, you know, to put that into words, there are a lot of great rivalries in sports. You know about the Yankees and the Red Sox and all that kind of thing. But many believe Ohio State-Michigan is the biggest rivalry in all of sports, amateur or professional.
Well, I think this. I consider it a privilege, right? And not a privilege for the Ohio State-Michigan game to have me in it, but a privilege for me to be a part of something. That standard of greatness was set long before me when I was there, and it'll be there long after me. Lucky.
And Eli slips and falls awkwardly. Hopefully he's okay. He's helped up immediately and appears to be all right.
We'll try to run a bootleg right here. See if he get trips on Saquon Barkley. Yep. And those are, again, the little details and things that you don't take for granted, and a chance for the Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense, again, to get off the field after a slow start, to give their offense, which, quite frankly, the Giants have had a hard time slowing down, to get back into this.
For 3rd down and 13, they need to get up to the 37-yard line for a first down. Manning steps up and a beautiful ball. And that is a first down on the completed pass to Sterling Shepard.
I'll never understand it. Understand you're getting high load. Now, we're not going to see the guy, but right here, there's going to be a Tampa Bay defender, Javian Elliott. Leave this guy alone. Understand where the sticks are, because the quarterback's rule is read the corner, throw the corner. If the corner's back, you throw up. If the corner's up, you throw deep. The corner is up, so he throws deep. Understand where you are in the field. Throw the short one, rally and make the tackle, call the punt team on it. That's youth, again, in that back end.
Barkley out across the 45, close to the 47. That'll be Saquon's 12th carry of this game. He had 20, which was a career high Monday night in San Francisco.
He had 24 touches in total with 4 catches. Pat Shurmur understands the importance of getting the ball into his hands. And if they could run block and continue to run block, now understand they were ranked 31st coming into the league on rushing offense at only 80 yards a game. If they get that going, that's going to only help Eli.
Play clock down to 5. There appeared to be some confusion, so Eli says hold on a minute. First timeout taken by the Giants here in the opening half. So a week ago, Odell Beckham Jr. says we're going to rip off 8 in a row. They won the first one. Do any of those games look for sure like you don't have a chance to win?
No, I think they're absolutely in all those, especially if they can run the ball like they've run the ball so far this first half with Barkley.
2nd down. And a throw is caught. Corey Coleman, the former #1 pick of the Cleveland Browns, was the 15th pick overall in 2016. Was traded to Buffalo during the offseason. They cut him. New England picked him up, kept him for a week. They cut him. And now his 2nd game as a Giant. They tried to snap him before the 2-minute warning and did not. 14-7 New York. Both quarterbacks off to very good starts here today. Fitzpatrick had the rushing touchdown. The best start in a game in Eli Manning's career is 11 of 11. 2 away from doing that.
The offensive line has done an outstanding job of protection.
They'll try and make it 10 in a row here. And he does. Barkley steps out of bounds at the 41-yard line. 1:53 to play until halftime, and the Giants with a pair of timeouts remaining.
first down. Ready first down.
Yep.
That's it. Hey, loco.
Wait. Loco.
26. Loco 26.
Yeah.
118. All right, done.
Giants pick up the blitz nicely. And what a shimmy step by Shepard. And he's inside the 20-yard line. That's what the young kids call, Chris, the ankle break.
Well, first of all, he's going to win his one-on-one battle. We talked about the D-line winning one-on-one battles. This is a nice little slough route. And to be able to stop and start on a dime, that's what makes NFL players and NFL wide receivers so unique and so special. That ability to stop and burst. Eli tied the career record, right?
Yep.
11 for 11.
11 for 11. Let's check in quickly with Carissa Thompson in Los Angeles.
Thanks, Tom. So the Colts were up 10-0 on the Titans, and Andrew Luck connects with T.Y. Hilton for this 68-yard score. Colts up 17-0. Tom?
Hey, Indianapolis wins that game today. They go to 5-5 and would be tied for second place in the AFC South. We mentioned Eli has hit on his first 11. And that ties his career best in the game.
And he's playing confident. You know, a lot of people at home think that just because you're an NFL player, you're always confident. You always believe in yourself. Even a guy like 15 years in the league, right? 2 Super Bowls. You always have to trust his confidence, and his offensive line is giving him that confidence where he has time to survey and throw darts. Let's see if he touches.
Oh, is his knee down there, and was he touched? The knee is definitely down, and he appears to be touched.
No.
So let's see where that would be. It would be short of the first down by almost a full 3 yards, rather than a 24-yard gain.
I can certainly understand why the officials did not see that on the field,
sure,
because it was so bang bang. But the replay showed that he was down. Okay, right there it's down, and we'll see Javian Elliott's right hand is down there. It's touching him, and it's still down. Bring it back.
So it'll bring up, I believe, a third down and probably 3 or 4 yards. That was a second down reception.
If Pat Shurmur can get number 88 involved in this offense, I mean, he's such a weapon now. He's still finding his way, but I'm telling you, he is a matchup nightmare for linebackers and safeties, especially on longer routes, 12 to 15 to 40-yard routes, because of his speed. Remember, he was a sub-4.5 guy coming out of Ole Miss, out of the draft last year.
Well, he had a great rookie year. He had 64 catches, over 700 yards, did Evan Ingram, but he missed the first 3 games with a knee injury this year. He's never really gotten it going. He had the terrible drop on a 4th and 3 against Washington a couple of weeks ago. Said he had a hard time sleeping at night after that drop. And you just get the sense that right now he's not a big part of their game plan.
Yeah, you certainly do. And I think he can be. Because I can promise you, when you sit and you talk to defensive coordinators that are preparing for the Giants offense, he's not ignored in that room.
The runner's knee was down at the 37-yard line. Therefore, it would be 3rd down and 2. The clock should be reset to 1:49. By rule, this requires a 10-second runoff. Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 1:39.
See right here, 150. Shut her down.
All right, so 1:39 to play until halftime. Ball spotted at the 37. And it's a 3rd down and 2.
Lots of pick routes, rub routes. Saquon Barkley offset to the bunch side. Bunch is defined by these guys. They're nice and tight. Bring Odell across.
Lofting it down the sideline for Barkley. Tried to make the juggling one-hand reception, but it's incomplete.
Well, Eli's going to want that back, right? There's a lot of things and movement inside that allows Barkley to run free because of his speed, is able to run past Andrew Adams, and the ball was poorly thrown. Now Barkley made a one-handed catch like that Friday in practice, just was not able to bring it in. I like this call, punting it away.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I really
Why?
do. I think you play the field position, you're up, you go in with a 14-7 lead. Now, I promise you, Tampa won't play light.
There's no doubt. We saw last week they are going to put the ball in the air. There won't be a quarterback taking a knee coming up. We'll start this drive inside the 15. And all right, Kurt Menefee, what's coming up on the Visa halftime?
Waitresses. We forgot to add that. And I'll be in Dubuque next week for 4 shows. Always keep your eye on Deshaun Jackson. First down play, any type of play action. It's just an alert.
Fitzpatrick.
There he is.
To Deshaun Jackson.
Yep.
He made the call. He made the catch. And that's a first down to the 34-yard line. Buccaneers have all 3 timeouts left.
The timing of this route is beautiful. Look, he's going to come down here and run. First of all, protection is outstanding. But Deshaun Jackson, the timing of the route, and I love how he used his body as a basketball player. With the box out.
Fitzpatrick looking around and incomplete. Had an eye on Rodgers out of the backfield. Man, he had Deshaun Jackson down the field. But was under heavy pressure was Fitzpatrick from Mario Edwards Jr.
Nice job by Alec Ogletree, who had great coverage, struggled in coverage last week. That time he was dialed in. Here's Deshaun again, working one-on-one, and definitely a deep threat. Kind of got lulled to sleep right there. Didn't have time to find him.
Nope. Second down and 10. Fitzpatrick steps up and again under heavy pressure. Hit as he threw it. That time again it was Edwards Jr.
Well, this
only has 1 sack and slow to get up. It looked like Ryan Fitzpatrick.
So James Betcher's got to be pleased, right? He's talking about his guys. We've got to be able to get pressure. They're bringing 4 guys, even though it looks like 5. Alec Ogletree was hugging up on Rodgers. But when Mario Edwards is winning his battles and those guys are playing with great effort up front, I think that will lead to sacks. That's what James Betcher wants from his defense.
Third down and 10. And up along the sideline, trying to corral it was Evans. Unable to do so. Penalty flag back behind the line of scrimmage.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 54. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That's Olivier Vernon, perhaps some frustration. He has not had a big year.
See right here, Olivier. Inside, does a great job with a bull rush. Yeah, I don't know.
What do you think about that?
He's probably going to get a strongly worded email from the league.
You like that call?
No, I don't like that call. Why? That's why he's going to get a strongly worded email with a letter that the other guy's going to get.
Hey, Green, Oklahoma.
That's Vernon jumping early. But was there movement on the left side of that offensive line?
It's 20 yards and penalties right there. Once they got him. Usually when you're not guilty.
Neutral zone infraction, defense number 54.
Yep.
5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Start pointing the other way. All right, bring it together. Still got a lot of downs.
That would have been a 4th down and 10 were it not for the penalty on Vernon on the hit on Fitzpatrick. Gave him a first down, and now 1st and 10 goes to 1st and 5, and he just did it again. He just did it again.
25.
Neutral zone infraction, defense number 54. 5-yard penalty results in automatic first down.
Hey, this is really smart of Donovan Smith, right? He can hold his water. He doesn't have to jump, but once he saw Vernon jump, watch this little hesitation. Then he says, okay, I'm going to go. That's really smart. Because he could have let him get back. He didn't.
Hey, Green, Oklahoma. Green, Oklahoma.
Rodgers Carries close to another first down. Needed to get to the 31-yard line.
First charge timeout, Tampa.
And Tampa Bay will call a timeout. You know, we saw that hit a moment ago by Vernon, and that's such a hotly debated topic, Chris. Guys that played like you played when you played, along with many, many others that worry about the future of the game. What kind of game are they playing? What do you think?
Well, I think Dean called in, and Dean said he might have got him with the helmet first. So that, okay, then that's the rules. I don't think it was anything intentional or damaging. It wasn't the crown of the helmet. But, hey, I get the rules. You got to play with the rules. But you have to get your composure. Now, Vernon's a good pass rusher. Now he's going to make a play. He's responsible for 25 yards here. Make a play. Come back. Here you go.
Goes down to the 31-yard line. Fitzpatrick overshoots Rodgers, and it was Ogletree who was burned frequently last week in San Francisco in coverage, but step for step with Rodgers there.
Yeah, he's doing a much better job.
He's a good player.
He's a really good player, and again, that's a confidence thing. And today's running back, right? They're so difficult to cover out of the backfield. You're asking 255-pound guys to cover 200-pound guys. Hard to do. Now Ogletree, he'll put the work and effort and time in. I know that.
Poor throw there by Fitzpatrick. It was great coverage by Michael Thomas, and he picks it off. Was looking for O.J. Howard down around the 10-yard line, and you can't have better coverage than that. And now picture time.
Understanding game planning. Michael Thomas is going to run the vertical route, and he turns right when O.J. Howard turns. Now, we saw the ball that Ryan Fitzpatrick threw to O.J. Howard earlier in the quarter. He threw it high. Michael Thomas goes about 5'10" on a good day. Why he didn't put that ball up high and let him go get it and throw him open, as opposed to throwing it in Michael Thomas's radius so he can make the catch.
Thomas getting more and more playing time with some of the struggles of Curtis Riley at the opposite safety spot from Landon Collins. They hand it off to Barkley. Still on his feet out across the 15 to the 17, 18-yard line. Barkley, his 13th carry of this first half.
I don't think, if you're Pat Shermer, right, that's beautiful. That's what you want, right? On pace for 26 carries. He's running hard, and I like the fact he's running north and south.
That'll be the final play of the opening half. Tampa Bay will get the ball to start the second half. For the Buccaneers, their 20th interception of the season. So we'll take a timeout. All the guys standing by in Los Angeles for the Visa halftime when we come back.
Broadcast is copyrighted by NFL Productions for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this broadcast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of NFL Productions is prohibited.
Welcome to my backyard.
Wide open, and that is a touchdown. About the effort from the 35-year-old Ryan Fitzpatrick, in Tampa Bay on the board. That's our game flow, brought to you by Progressive. So, Chris Gilman, you made the comment before the game, all the turnovers for the Buccaneers. They have another one inside the red zone yet again today.
Well, actually, two, because they had a turnover on down. So you look at their last 9 trips to the 30-yard line, they're 2 for 9. And that last one, it's not just turnovers, it's turnovers in critical times. You have a chance to get a 48-yard field goal on the board going into half. It was just a poor decision on Ryan throwing the ball to O.J. Howard. Throw it low. You got 6'6" against 5'10". Throw it up to the guy that can triple dunk it.
Eli hit his first 11 straight pass attempts to start a game, which tied his career best. And boy, what about Saquon Barkley? Had a career high 20 rushes on Monday night against San Francisco. 13 first half carries for the Giants today. But the Buccaneers will get the football. It's a 7-point game. And the second chapter begins from the 7-yard line. Mercy, and a flag comes down. That is Kerry Wynn, who they're screaming around here to get more and more playing time.
Well, when you're 6'5", 265, covering kicks like that.
Personal foul, return team number 82. It was involved in a legal double team block, half the distance penalty, first down.
That's our third tight end, Anthony, off player.
So one thing I love, this is going to be the double team in this area, but who cares? Because this is what we have coming. We talk about guys when they tackle. Do not go to your knees on contact. Do not run to your target. You know what you do? Run through that target. That is beautiful, man. Oh, thank you. Thank you, sir. 72 win. That's a win.
Well, you're on a roll. You will be playing in Dubuque.
Oh, man.
For 4 nights next week. And Fitzpatrick dancing around, unloads the ball. That's a completed pass. Yes, to Peyton Barber. Let's check in with Shannon.
Well, you guys mentioned that big interception to end the first half for the New York Giants. I did ask Pat Shurmur about that, about the penalties that preceded that interception, if those frustrated him at all going into the locker room. He said, no, we got the ball back. That's what it's all about. He said he would like to put a little more pressure on these guys on first down. Now, for Cutter, it's simple. Finish drives, first down defense, and contain Saquon Barkley. Pretty easy, right?
Oh, yeah. That forced a sidearm attempt. Was that intercepted?
Yep.
It rolled off the defender, and this is Ogletree into the end zone for a touchdown. It looked like Janoris Jenkins, as he did on Monday night against the Giants, got a hand on the pass. The question is, did it ever touch the ground? Fitzpatrick was forced to throw that sidearm under heavy pressure from a blitzing Landon Collins.
Well, here's the thing. This is just a great job by Janoris Jenkins reading the route. I mean, he ran it before Deshaun Jackson ran it. Alec Ogletree running to the football, and that ball does not hit the ground. And the awareness to pick up, get up off the ground, and go score points. And a guy that's struggled in coverage to make a hustle play like this, always running to the ball. It's a nice reward for number 52, Alec Ogletree.
Dean Blandino, do you think this one stands up, the ruling on the field, a touchdown?
Yeah, I think they should confirm this. The ball never touches the ground, and you can see Ogletree's going to get control of it, and he's not touched by any Tampa player, gets up, advances it for a touchdown. I think this is good.
No. And, of course, they're looking to see if Jenkins had control of the ball, which it never looked like he did, right?
No, Jenkins never had possession of it. It was loose. Ogletree grabbed possession and scored a touchdown.
And they do indeed confirm it. Going after is good. Alec Ogletree. A huge play. And disappointment yet again for Dirk Cutter.
A's Game is sponsored by Kay Jewelers. For all the moments, for love, forever.
Disguised by Landon Collins. Free run, gets in the throwing lane, forcing Fitzpatrick to throw some type of, I don't know what that is, sidearm stuff. Janoris Jenkins runs the route for Deshaun Jackson, tips the ball up. Alec Ogletree running to the football. That is team defense. That's a team interception, and that's a team effort. And no matter the story for Tampa Bay, this is the number, minus 21. That's it, minus 21 turnovers, 21 interceptions. So who's ever quarterback, you got to throw it to the white guys in the white jerseys, the white team in the white jerseys. And no matter.
That's a third career interception return for a touchdown by Ogletree. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, I mean, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get some great, and you're going to get some not so great. He had the 4th and 1. I mean, hard to blame him there. They come up short. Then a hard run to get into the end zone. But the interception counted the 10-yard line. So 2 of his last 3 pass attempts have been picked off.
You're going to get a great effort. He's going to give you everything he has. Okay? But since, he's at minus 10 now in interceptions.
Easy throw here to Howard. I mean, consider this for a minute. This is now 9 consecutive games, 9 in a row, where whoever plays quarterback for Tampa Bay has been hit with 2 or more turnovers.
Yeah, and right there, you know, Jameis, I'm sure he's frustrated because, you know, one thing about this guy, he's a competitor. He wants to be out there. And if Fitzpatrick has more interceptions than him, why is he not out there?
Well, that's one of the great mysteries as to what is going on with Jameis Winston. I mean, here you are. You're not completely dead in the water, you know, from sniffing around in the wild card. You're 3-6. You find a way to be at a Giants team. And after the game we saw against the Redskins last week, I think universally every Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan thought you're going back to Jameis Winston. Now you wonder, are they ever going back to the former overall #1 pick?
You do, and I think Dirk Cutter makes a decision based on this. In his mind and in the coaching staff's mind, they see him practice all week. He feels that Ryan Fitzpatrick gives them the best chance to win. Well, let's see if he can bring him back in the second half.
They're going to throw it on 3rd and 2. And now Fitzpatrick rolls, throws, and it is a 3rd down conversion on the catch by Howard up to the 41. Shannon?
You know, Tom, a couple of weeks ago, we did ask Cutter what he thought about the way that Jameis was handling this whole situation. And he said he's handling it like a pro. That's exactly what he said. He said he is 1,000% sure that Jameis Winston, he is a great teammate. He is always here for these guys. And I see that on the sideline every single week, him encouraging the guys, even Ryan Fitzpatrick after every single turnover.
Yeah, you certainly see it when they're on the field. I think the problem when you start talking about Jameis Winston as a great teammate or even a good teammate is you know, are you a good teammate if you're getting suspended and you can't play? Whether it was what we saw in the confrontation that happened in New Orleans last year along the sideline with Lattimore, or obviously the suspension this year surrounding an Uber driver. And, you know, can you count on Jameis Winston?
Well, I think this last suspension was really one that he's responded to. He's 24 years old. I get it. We all get it. You know, you got to grow up. I don't want to hear that he's too young, but I think the last one really hurt him.
Illegal block in the back. Offense number 69. 10-yard penalty. Replay. 1st down.
And I think that's the one where he finally realizes, I'm going to throw all this away, all God's gifts away, if I don't bring it together and get it together. And he's a humbled young man right now. And people ask me if I'm buying or selling number 3. I'm buying all day long.
With you.
I'm buying all day long on Jameis Winston. And I bet you there's a lot of other teams around this league that would be buying all day long.
First down at 20 after the penalty on DeMar Dotson, the right tackle. And Fitzpatrick lofts it high. What a catch made along the sideline. A flag is in there. And Mike Evans claiming he was held, and he still caught the ball. And I think they might be getting Evans for shoving off.
To B.W. Webb, who again, these smaller DBs.
Pass interference. Offense. Number 13. 10-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
He's doing a great job of shadowing Mike Evans. This is B.W. Webb. Now, what I like is B.W. Webb is playing man coverage, so he's not looking back at the quarterback till the very last second. And Mike Evans got away with just a little bit of a push. And you know, when things are going well, Tom, sometimes that's not called against you. When things are bad or you're struggling, those things are called. Now, if you're the Giants, you learn any type of draw or screen.
And wipes off a 20-yard completion. It's 1st and 30. First time we've called the name Adam Humphries today. And a huge gain for Humphries, still on his feet, all the way to the Giants' 40-yard line. No penalty flags on the play. Humphries, a solid, dependable player for this Buccaneer team.
If you're the Giants, I thought I heard this somewhere, you alert draw or screen. Adam Humphries right here getting a nice block by Mike Evans on a kick out. And Adam Humphries is very good run after catch.
As a college free agent, they picked him up out of Clemson in 2015, and that's closing in on 200 receptions ago for Humphries.
Nice use of a hard count by Ryan Fitzpatrick. Josh Morrow jumped.
Encroachment. Defense number 97. 5-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
Let's see if they can capitalize. They got it moving now. Can they finish? Remember, anytime they're in the 30 and beyond, 2 for 9 in their last attempts.
Yeah, with 4 turnovers and turned it over on downs. 2 lost fumbles, 2 interceptions. failing on the 4th and 1, their opening drive here today. And Barber took a couple of big hits.
It's all right, man. He makes a decision every time he runs the ball. You know what the decision is? He says, I'm going to decide. I think he decided a long time ago that I'm going to be the hitter. I'm not going to be the hitty. Look at this. Boom. Lowering that shoulder, driving those legs. I don't know what you say about Peyton Barber. The only thing I say, football player. Football player, football player.
Candidate for the Sonny Spielman Award.
Achievement Award.
Your legendary father, high school coach in Northeastern Ohio. You'll be giving away that award at the end of the year. Looking for Deshaun Jackson. And it's another turnover. Riley on the interception, still on his feet. And run out of bounds by Howard, short of midfield. Can you believe that? That was just thrown up into the air.
I believe it completely. Because he tells us, I'm going to throw it up there and let it ride. He told us, I'm going to play with house money. And that's great. The only problem is you're playing with other guys' house money when you're trying to make a decision like this. Deshaun Jackson isn't going to win this vertical battle.
23% of Tampa Bay's possessions this year have led to a turnover. League average, 11. 3 straight possessions with a turnover for the Buccaneers, and it looks like the afternoon might be finished for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Jameis Winston is up and throwing just in front of the Buccaneers bench. And Barkley tripped up inside the 40. Close to a 25-yard gain for Barkley.
Good blocks all the way across the line of scrimmage right here. Being able to turn Gerald McCoy, get his shoulders turned. Bo Allen doesn't get to his gap. Saquon Barkley off and running. What Pat Shurmur told us. Broke out the films of Latavius Murray and Dalvin Cook. Saquon, you can learn something from these pros. Everything doesn't have to be a home run. They're going to take a deep shot right here to Odell Beckham. No, wrong.
That's the first time all year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you talk about the whole saga of the quarterback situation with Tampa Bay, but you go back to his first start in Week 11, 2004. Who's been more reliable, more dependable? 224 starts in 225 regular season games. Of course, his extended streak ended a long time ago. In that same 14-year time period, the Buccaneers have had 13 different quarterbacks. And only Jeff Garcia and Brian Griese have led the franchise to a record of 500 or better. There's a big sack here. Jason Pierre-Paul said he wanted to bring down the house where he used to call home. That's his second sack today.
He's going to move on a quick inside move, set up off the play action. Pressure coming. He just beats Solder with speed. Swats the hands, gets shoulders turned. Solder tried to quick set him instead of giving ground and be able to meet him. JPP hit him on the speed rush. Nice.
8 years as a Giant. 15th pick overall, first round draft choice of the Giants back in 2010. Went to 2 Pro Bowls, 58 sacks playing for New York.
Timeout, New York. Team's first charge timeout of the second half. 30 seconds.
Pat Shurmur was upset at that, and he's either upset at one, at himself for not getting to play in time, or two, they didn't line up correctly.
So it'll be a 3rd down and 18 after the sack back at the 45-yard line. They need to get to the 27 to convert. Manning 11 of 12, 129 yards, has been sacked 3 times today, making it 35 on the year. Underneath to Evan Ingram. Wow. You talked about what kind of athlete he is. Leaping over the defender is Ingram.
Just going to do a nice little crossing route, hoping he can do something with run after catch, and jumps over Grimes right here. Great job by Evan Ingram of getting involved and showing Pat Shurmur that he's willing to give the effort as they line up for a 52-yard field goal. That play was designed and called to give a chance for 3 points.
4 of 5 in his career is Aldrich Rosas with a career long of 53. This one 52, and it's hammered, and he got it. That was just pounded. So, is that all for Fitzpatrick? Is Jameis Winston coming on from the bullpen?
Sponsored by Chevy. Chevy has earned J.D. Power Dependability Awards across cars, trucks, and SUVs. And by Burger King. Get 10 crispy chicken nuggets for just $1, only at Burger King.
Good look at the Manhattan Bridge. Boy, I love that music.
Wow.
Day is over for Ryan Fitzpatrick. 3 interceptions. So now in his last 5 starts, he has thrown 7 touchdowns against 11 interceptions. And they're going to hand the ball over to the former #1 overall pick in the 2015 draft, their starter from day 1 when he showed up in Tampa Bay. And that, of course, is Jameis Winston, 24 years old, won a Heisman Trophy, won a national championship at Florida State, had a number of off-field issues there. Threw for over 11,000 yards and 70 touchdowns his first 3 years in the league. Suspended the front 3 this year. Came on in relief of Fitzpatrick in Chicago. Started 3 games. But after 4 interceptions on the road at Cincinnati, they took him out. He's not played since.
I would start him if you're going to throw the ball. Give him short, rhythmic passes for him to get some type of tempo going in his own mind.
Ready! Blue lady! What's up?
Give to him. He'll fight.
9-yard gain by Peyton Barber. Broke a tackle of Ogletree, it looked like.
Well, again, Peyton Barber, you better bring it because he's bringing it. And I love the ball security, 2 hands on the football, and he's never going to quit. He's going to get you everything he can. It's a great opportunity for Jameis, though. Tough opportunity, but a great opportunity.
I mean, as you can imagine, for those of you down in the Tampa Bay area, Tampa, St. Pete, and the surrounding communities, Clearwater Beach, you know, you're reading about it every day. What does it say about the future of Dirk Cutter? What does it say about the future of their general manager? What does it say about the future of Jameis Winston? That they're starting on a 3-6 team, a 35-year-old at quarterback, rather than the guy you planned on being your franchise guy.
See if he can pull something out today and maybe make a statement.
They're down in the yard. They give it to Barber, and he breaks it to the outside. He has Riley to beat, and he decides to run over him instead of run by him.
There's a miscommunication on defense because I guarantee you Martin's not coming in here without somebody having the responsibility of bouncing the ball back inside. There's no contained player. And I think, to me, it was a linebacker that has to scrape. When you have a defensive end come inside, Connor Barwin, number 53, has to scrape outside. That was a miscommunication by the Giants on their front 7 stunt. Always have a contained player.
Take it to Barber, and Winston steps into the throw and delivers it to Godwin at the 20-yard line. That'll be a first down.
Well, it's really a nice job by Chris Godwin of working back to the football. He's a guy that has a bright future, and I really like this. And Jameis trusts him. Watch him come back to the ball. This is a great job of Chris coming back to the football. You see right there, Janoris Jenkins was a little late on his break, but Godwin would have cut him off at the pass anyway.
Godwin, a great career at Penn State. Grew up in Middletown, Delaware.
Sunday! Here we go!
Barber met head on that time by Morrow.
Watch Morrow here, Tom. You're going to love this, right? This is people don't see this all the time, and this is really good stuff. Who's going to win his one-on-one individual battle? Whoops. Ooh. Out of my way, sir. I got a play to make. Excuse me. How's that analysis? Out of my way, sir.
That's why they call you Papa Grande in many circles.
Hey, Lion 52, Lion 52.
That's big league analysis.
Yeah, there you go. Out of my way. I got to make a play.
Second down at 10. Winston, he can run it. And he slides down. Not a great runner, but he'll gain 3. And let's check in with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. So the Redskins down 17-7. Alex Smith drops back, tries to get away from pressure. J.J. Watt lands on his right ankle in a gruesome injury. He ended up being carted off the field. Colt McCoy is now in for the Redskins. Redskins, of course, play on Thanksgiving right here on Fox.
Our prayers indeed.
I hate that for any player at any level at any league, especially with all the issues they're having with their offensive line, to lose Alex Smith.
Boy, that was a fastball, Randy Johnson-like fastball thrown there by Winston, and that's a first down.
You know, and people laughed at this analysis last week that I gave, but Jameis Winston was the best scout team quarterback I've ever watched in practice because he took it seriously. And so what does that do? So when he comes into the game in relief, he's coming in and he's throwing darts because he practices his rear end off. No matter if he's first team, second team, third team, scout team, no team.
Trying to get back into sync. Trailing 24-7. 2.5 to go in the third quarter. And Barber lowers his shoulders, gets to the 5. It'll bring up second down and goal. I'm wondering if Barber actually snuck through all the way down to the 3. No, they're saying he was down at the 6. And you can understand the frustration. You know, this season they turned it over 5 times. 30th in scoring percentage, touchdown that is, and a passer rating, second to last. It's been tough. Winston still on his feet, trying to beat a defender around the edge, and he fumbles the ball. And who's got it? Looks like Mike Evans has it down there.
Yes.
It was stripped away by Edwards, but it looks like Evans is at the bottom of the pile with a football, and it will be a touchdown if that's the case.
Oh, recovered by Tampa Bay, touchdown.
It is a touchdown for Mike Evans. Nearly another disaster for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, finally the ball goes their way as Mario Edwards does nice of stripping that football, laying out. Adam Humphries down there with a block, and Mike Evans not quitting on the play is able to wrestle it away. Ball security, though. He's talked about this. You have to put that ball away. He knows better than that.
So they have confirmed the call on the field. It is a touchdown for Evans after the fumble into the end zone by Winston. And now the point after to make it a 10-point spread. And good by Cairo Santos. All right, we got a ball game. Got a ball game, Speed.
Let's go. Play ball.
Is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Jameis comes on, marches him down the field, 74 yards, 9 plays. Winston 2 of 2 for 27. He did fumble, but fortunately for him, his teammate Mike Evans, Johnny on the spot to make it a 10-point game.
And the whole team has life now. Now can the defense step up and get a stop here to give Jameis more time, because he's feeling confident. He threw the ball really nice coming out of the bullpen.
Corey Coleman from the 2. And out close to the 30. It's coming up Saturday. I'm going to this one. It's as good as it gets. Ohio State v. Michigan from Columbus, Ohio. You played it for those Chris Spielman, but you know, you played your legendary father, Sonny Spielman. You're getting recruited by everybody and his brother. And everybody in the country is after Chris Spielman coming out of Massillon High School. And you were ready from the second it all started to be a Buckeye. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, I told my dad, I met with Bo Schembechler. I said, Dad, I think I'm going to Michigan. He said, I'll tell you where you're bleeping going. You're going to Ohio State. That's the end of the discussion. You're a traitor if you go to Michigan. Good parenting, huh?
He told you what you never see your parents at a game and don't come home for Christmas, right?
Oh, I'll never see you play up there. It's Ohio high school football, Coach. I mean, people in Ohio and Michigan understand it.
Of course they understand.
They get it, and it's a great rivalry. I have such respect. And, you know, the cool thing about it, when I was with the Lions, and we'll get back to the game here in a second, this is really cool. It just goes to show you Bo Schembechler. He used to invite me over to sit with the linebackers and coach the linebackers, not on the field, but just watch film with them. I love Bo Schembechler. I love the whole rivalry.
Wide open is Beckham. We've not called his name in quite some time, and that's to the 40-yard line for Beckham, just his second catch.
Well, it's play action because they had success running the ball. OBJ has been missing, and this is a nice little crossing route, and patience and understanding. And the thing I love about him, never body catches the football, ever. He has great hands, and he uses his hands. You know whose his remind me of? Chris Carter. Chris Carter always used to catch the ball with his hands. You never saw him body catch it.
Express it!
I think a lot of people don't remember what an incredible player Chris Carter was. And for Barkley, he's just eclipsed the 100-yard rushing mark for the third time, and this is his rookie year.
Now, this is the film study of paying off because he's making one cut and he's going straight ahead, and he has such burst and vision through the hole. Man, he's got a great future ahead of him. Obviously.
Boy.
Captain Obvious.
Don't go out on a limb.
No.
Will you?
Yeah. The odds are pretty good.
Oh, yes. Little George Benson.
Is that who that is?
Broadway.
All right. I trust you on that one.
Oh, yeah. Grand Central Station there. Midtown.
Oh, we have 118. What's it?
Barkley nearly tripped up, breaks a tackle from Nassib, and he lowers his shoulder and gets inside. They say he stepped out of bounds. It looks like at the 13-yard line.
All the beautiful things to watch. So I'll shut up so you can watch all these beautiful things, but I'm going to talk at the end of this because instead of going out of bounds, and this is a little thing, a little hop skip there. Look, turn upfield. Don't go out of bounds. Try to get more yards. That's what you love from rookies. Look at this. Watch him turn. Now watch him not go out of bounds here. This is little things. It's hidden yards, and it's things what championship teams do.
Looking for Penny, and they find him. He crawls his way inside the 10. Let's check in downstairs with Shannon.
Tom, Barkley, so much fun to watch from field level. And, you know, he used to watch somebody a lot when he was a little boy, Barry Sanders. He told me he would watch his highlights over and over again, go out in the backyard and try to duplicate them exactly. He did get to meet Sanders this preseason when they played the Lions. I said, what was that like? What do you even say to your idol? He said, listen, I tried to be cool, but I was giddy. That's the word he used.
Good for him.
He's the best. Best ever.
Your longtime teammate, Barry Sanders.
Hit him in practice, thought I was going to get cut the next minute.
Barkley, that's his, what he has, 18 carries, 120 yards. And look at the numbers. All positive except for one.
Yeah, and I think that's what Pat was talking about. He didn't want him to take any negative yards rushing and go north and south, because with Barry Sanders you could live with a -4, -5 because the next one was going for 80. I think Saquon's got all kind of ability, obviously a great player, but for his offense and what he wants done, and he's more explosive as an inside runner. He can run everywhere, but his burst inside with that leg strength is beautiful to watch.
3rd down and 5 to the end zone. Did he come down in bounds is a question for Odell Beckham Jr., and it's signaled a touchdown.
Strong hands.
Oh, boy. Does he ever.
Just amazingly strong hands. They're like vice grips. Just going to run a post, going to high-low him right here. Eli is throwing. His target's not Odell Beckham Jr., it's the back pylon, and you see the strong hands as he holds on to the ball when Isaiah Johnson's trying to rip it out.
Look at the big fella.
Yeah. That's a win.
Look at the big man.
He made a nice catch. Odell-like catch.
We got to go make sure he's okay. Let's take a shot of that. I mean, Odell flips him the ball after the touchdown. And a big fella trying to catch his breath.
Sponsored by T-Mobile. Whether you're home or away, T-Mobile has you covered.
I was hoping the guy on the left would do the imitation to the guy on the right.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. He's excited he caught the ball, and I can guarantee you he was probably spent most of his career in a three-point stance, so he probably didn't get to catch too many balls. But he's excited, and his kid is excited. That's football. I love it. Good for OBJ for giving that. That's awesome.
And by the way, that touchdown, the 43rd receiving touchdown for Odell Beckham, that ties him with Frank Gifford. Well, what a great player he was. The fourth most in Giants history. Monty Toomer is the all-time leader with 54. Frank Gifford, a champion in 1956. Most valuable player in the league, and of course for nearly 3 full decades was the voice of Monday Night Football. What a talented man on many fronts. Still a long way to go in this one. 31-14, Giants in front.
Ready. Blue waiting. What's up?
Winston down the middle of the field finds O.J. Howard. Let's send it back to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
But Dallas and Atlanta have been locked in a close one throughout, and after Leighton Vander Esch picked off Matt Ryan, Ezekiel Elliott took it 23 yards for a score. He's got 114 rushing, 180 total, and the Cowboys are up by 10 in the fourth quarter. Just more Ohio State for you guys to talk about, Tom and Chris.
Well, there's no doubt about it, Kurt. And Elliott's starting to ramp it up again. Looking like the player we saw 2 years ago instead of the one that was suspended half a year. And read more about him in the court than you did on the field.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing, how it relates to our game, if I can compare Saquon Barkley to any back in the league, I think Zeke Elliott's the closest comparison. They're very similar in their running styles. They're very similar how they're built.
Yep.
They also both have excellent hands coming out of the backfield. It's coming out. Oh, draw.
Say, the more and more you watch Barber, and I know we've said this a couple of times already today, but if he were with a team that would run the ball a little bit more, and that's not picking on the play caller, because they're in a lot of situations like this where they're behind so big and they're throwing it a lot. This guy looks like he could be a pretty good back for you.
So, you know, I said it last week. If it's 3rd and 1, if there's a tough yard, and I'll stand by this statement all day long, I take Peyton Barber and trust him more than anything to get that yard.
Well, why didn't they give it to him 4th down in the yard on their first drive?
That's a question for Dirk Cutter, not Chris Spielman.
Jameis slides down. Penalty flag comes in late.
I think we're going to get Peyton Barber for holding. Better running than blocking.
There's no foul on the play for holding. It's over to play a 2nd down.
Picked it up.
You actually played against that man right there. When he was playing for Michigan and you were playing, or Michigan State, he was playing at Ohio State. He was a 4-year player and a 2-time All-American center for the Michigan State Spartans.
And just his personality, like his team, he wants to be tough and nasty. And Pat Sherman, a great college player at Michigan State.
Godwin slips a tackle. Still on his feet. See where he stepped out of bounds. 15-yard line, 1st down.
Well, those are hidden yards, and these are things that you look for if your team that's struggling. What guys are still going to give it all? And right there, I thought number 58, Davis, he could have blown up Godwin on the sidelines. He just tried to push him out. He's in bounds. As a linebacker, you got a shot on a wide receiver. Take him out.
Mike, Here we go.
Rodgers down to the 10-yard line. Let's turn back the clock to the mid-1980s. Chris Spielman, Ohio State linebacker.
Yeah.
And Pat Shurmur, center for Michigan State during that same time frame.
He cheated. He had boxing gloves on. I didn't know that. All right. Now I know.
What do you have on there?
I just have old hand pass, but great player. And I love the guy because he's a competitor. Actually has a son that's a quarterback at Vanderbilt.
Right.
Kyle
At the end of the
Shurmur.
play, dead ball, personal foul, defense number 20. Half the distance penalty, automatic, first down.
Probably his draftable kid, and these are things what he does not like to see. And this is Jameis Winston's second drive in a row, and see if the Bucs can convert.
So it's first down and goal. Half the distance to the goal line after that penalty on Janoris Jenkins. So from the 5, Winston under center.
Here we go.
Barber to the end zone and a touchdown. It's been a 100-yard-plus rushing game for Peyton Barber here today.
Really, he doesn't get touched until he gets to the second level. You can see they get a good double team. They're able to seal. You got a chance to make a play. Guess what? If you're on the goal line and you stop your feet to make a tackle, you're DUN done. Done.
DUN.
Yes, DUN. You have to come in as fast as you can and hit that tackling running. You do not stop your feet on the goal line to make a tackle. All that breakdown stuff you hear about, forget about it. Throw it out the window. Run through your target, not to your target.
Second career 100-yard rushing game for Barber. Did you say DUN done?
That's for Topper and Terrace Park.
Well, in addition to possibly reaching the rare 1,000-yard rushing, 1,000-yard receiving feat, Barkley trying to add another mark in his sights. A rookie with 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Only Eric Dickerson in '83, Edger and James in 1999 have done that. And you pile in the number of yards today, and he's up to 1,248 yards. Big hit right there on Coleman. I mean, this guy's something special, Chris. The number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft.
You look at it, it's just great burst and balance. It's tough to knock him off his feet. That's why you got to be sure to try to wrap him up, because you try to body blow him down, he'll just keep his feet because of his great balance. Somebody for the Bucs now. I know you're depleted. A lot of guys hurt. Step up and make a play. Give your offense a chance. You're only down 10. Great field position. Anything.
Barkley. Close to 5. Let's send it back to Kurt Menefee.
Well, Big Ben had thrown 3 interceptions, and the Steelers were being shut out at Jacksonville. That is, until he hooked up with Antonio Brown. 78 yards later, they get their first score of the game. They did miss the 2-point conversion, but right now it's a 16-6 contest, and there's still almost a full quarter to go. Tom, Chris, and Shannon.
That's the NFL, isn't it? I mean, it's Pittsburgh with 52 up on Carolina, Jacksonville with their struggles. Let's see if they can hold off. Let's see if the Giants can hold off.
Looking for Odell Beckham. And that is beautifully defended by Javian Elliott.
That's discipline. They were in zone, so nobody's running anywhere. Yeah. So nobody's running, right? They're playing zone. Javian Elliott is. You're going to see OBJ come across. Javian Elliott's just dropping off in his zone, and he's right there to come up and make a play. That's well done against a bootleg. That's designed to hurt man, not zone. Good discipline.
It's a very, very important play for the Tampa Bay defense. A maligned group indeed. They've given up 31 points today. That's right around what they're giving up per game this year. They're trying to get the ball back down 10. It's 3rd down and 8. And Manning is sacked back to the 15-yard line.
There it is. You needed that. The veteran, Gerald McCoy, making a play when his team needs a play to be made. Watch big number 93. Good get off right here. Working one-on-one, not quitting it. And nice bull rush on 340-pound Jamon Brown. You're giving Jameis a chance. I told you Jameis had a great opportunity. Let's see what he can do.
7:45 to play. And Dixon puts a foot on a good punt. But this might be returnable for Humphries from the 31-yard line. And he'll dive forward to the 41. A flag comes in. Couple of them.
How about the defense responding, Tom? 3 and out, giving these guys an opportunity.
It's the second time all year long the Giants have scored 30 points in a game. And that's 2 times in their last 41 games. 30 or more points in a game.
During the return, illegal block in the back, return team number 26. 10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
Big Gerald McCoy, you've always got an eye on him, Spiels.
With effort, making a play. Celebrate.
All right, Dirk Cutter hoping for a miracle here. I mean, this is the kind of game, if they lose, you're not officially eliminated from the wild card, but you're eliminated. Jameis Winston, 2 drives, 2 touchdowns, and nearly an interception.
I don't know why he doesn't throw to Mike Evans. And this is getting greedy. This is decision making, and he wants to eliminate turnovers because this is a missed opportunity by Giants. Evans not even in the picture. He'll be coming here. He's going to be wide open. Just give it to him, Jameis. They're giving it to you. You don't have to force that ball. Right there, B.W. Webb had it in his grasp, and it's just a missed opportunity by the Giants.
Winston took him 74 yards in 9 plays. His fumble recovered by Evans in the end zone for a touchdown. And then 7 plays, 77 yards. And now he's got him on the go to completion. Evans across midfield to the 45.
Now, normally Landon Collins would eliminate that yards after catch. He had his head down, and Mike Evans just gave him a little shimmy shake, making him miss in space. They keep it going. That's normally a tackle that young man makes all the time.
Where it's a 2-possession game. So they're not going to huddle. They have 3 timeouts. It's 7 minutes to go, and Winston all day to throw it. And nearly intercepted again. Morrow's in there. Edwards is in there. Tip drill.
Well, that's the second opportunity, but I want to watch out here. Now, Tampa's going to get away with a hold. Watch the bear hug that DeMar Dodson gets in. He's got his hands wrapped and hugged. You see that? Now, I don't know why they didn't call holding on that. It's a good opportunity. They got another break. So that's 2 breaks and 3 breaks in a row right there for Tampa Bay to stay alive.
Blitz coming. Great. Leveled at the 40 by Jenkins. Let's go to Kurt Menefee.
Well, Adrian Peterson has 14 carries for only 40 yards, so less than 3 per. But he's also got 2 touchdowns, and with that one, has given Washington its first lead of the day. They were up 21-20 in the 4th quarter against the Texans in a good one. Tom, Chris, and Shannon.
And Curtis, you know that's also the first lead change in any game this entire year for the Washington Redskins. First one all year.
There's confusion on his back end. Got to play man in this 3rd short situation. A good call. Good timeout. They weren't lined up properly. Everybody was waving hands to each other.
Second timeout, New York. 30 seconds.
We're back after this message from Farmers Insurance.
We've seen almost everything, so we know how to cover almost anything, even a huge drag. Nothing worth losing sleep over because we covered it. Talk to farmers. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
All right, a 3rd down and 4 coming up. Those are the 2 drives since coming from the bullpen for Jameis Winston in relief of Ryan Fitzpatrick. 6 out of 8, 101 yards for Winston.
So many weapons to go to. Evans, Jackson, Gray, Humphries. All of them. He always likes Humphries. Nice.
And he finds Deshaun Jackson a first down to the 33.
Boy, just the timing of this is beautiful, and it goes to Jameis Winston's practice habits from not playing. This ball is thrown to Deshaun Jackson before he's out of his break.
Go to 52.
5:45 and counting.
Monday.
Winston looking around, lets it go to Howard down the middle of the field. He's inside the 15. He's inside the 10. First and goal, Tampa Bay, with 5.5 to go.
We say it every week. When you look back in man coverage, your man will pull away, as O.J. Howard was injured on that tackle. 58 Davis is going to look away from O.J. Howard. Watch this now. On the snap of the ball, he's playing in good coverage. He's in good position. He starts looking back at the quarterback. You're done. You lose sight of your man, and all he does is pull away. Good effort to make the tackle from behind. But that's just, you have to be disciplined to keep your eyes on your guy anytime it's man coverage and you see the ankle. Oh.
Well, hopefully O.J. Howard's going to be okay. Boy, what a talented young player he is indeed, and starting to come on strong as they continue to take a look at him. You know, we saw the injury earlier, Chris, to Alex Smith, the quarterback of the Redskins, which appears to be very serious. And before we talk more about that, let's send it back to Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. So Atlanta down 19-12 when Matt Ryan airs it out to who else? Julio Jones for this 34-yard touchdown with under 2 minutes left to play. His third straight game with the score. We're all tied up. Tom?
Carissa, thank you. It was 33 years ago today. That gruesome injury by then Washington quarterback Joe Theismann in the arms of Lawrence Taylor. And we're certainly hoping that we hear something that's not season-ending something for Alex Smith.
I mean, I hate to see it for any player. And being on that field, I understand. I mean, I used to feel bad for any player no matter what team if they were injured, and certainly not seriously. But let's hope all these guys get healthy. But this, again, the opportunity of Jameis Winston. Redemption tour.
Slant, and it is a touchdown for Adam Humphries. And don't look now, with a little more than 5 to go, a point away from a 3-point game.
This is Jameis Winston using his eyes. Watch his head. He's going to look out here first, then he's going to throw the slant late. He's going to set this up, first of all, by turning his shoulders. Then he comes back to the slant. So he reveals everybody to Deshaun Jackson. See that? Everybody's to Deshaun Jackson by Jameis Winston's eyes, which allows the slant to come wide open, and he throws the dart and strike for his guy, Adam Humphries. I told you he likes that guy.
Very important point after here. And right down the middle for Cairo Santos. Jameis Winston, 9 of 11. 140 yards. He's led him on 3 touchdown drives.
That's I told you, opportunity. And we were talking about Jameis, and it's easy to say now, but before we said it, he's made the most of every opportunity that he's had, and the missed opportunities by the Giants defense. There were twice during that sequence of plays that they had chances for interceptions. Not great interceptions, legitimate catches that they dropped.
Well, sometimes, you know, you got to have a little lady luck on your side from time to time. And
yeah. Well, that one.
There hasn't been much of that going around in Tampa Bay.
Well, let's see if the Giants, if they want to be a championship team, if they want to get back in it, if they want to do like the 95 Lions and run 7 off in a row, you got a team down. You got to be able to bury them.
Five-yard line. It will be Coleman. Well, he's turned into a weapon in that return game. Well, you go back to 1977. Buccaneers, those sweet unis they used to wear, looking for their first win. They started 0-22. Giants won 10-0. 3 interceptions of Tampa Bay quarterback Jeb Blount. 6 times Tampa Bay got inside the Giants' 12-yard line and didn't score a single point.
That's old school, huh?
It's a big league sweatshirt. Saquon Barkley picks up 2, lost the ball, and Ellison there to pick it up. Let's send it back to Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. So Lions-Panthers tied at 13 when Matt Stafford connects with Kenny Golladay for this 19-yard score, his 5th touchdown of the season. About 5 minutes left to play in this one. Lions up 20-13. Tom, Chris, and Shannon.
Tell you what, that would be... Anybody who's interested in being a wild card team in the NFC is rooting like crazy for the Lions.
Absolutely.
Because that would be a big blow to Carolina. Manning down the middle of the field. The catch is made by Ingram. Wow. And he is all the way inside the 15. Showing off that speed you talked about earlier.
As soon as he's in a matchup with a linebacker, I'm telling you, Eli Manning knows where he's going with the football right away. His eyes do not divert from Evan Ingram because he knows he's one-on-one with Devontae Bond, and you see that 4.4 speed as he almost splits the defensive backs. If he's a part of this offense, then this offense is legitimately dangerous when you have Odell Beckham Jr., Saquon Barkley, and you bring that young man into the fix where you have to account for him. That's a problem.
Season best 54-yard reception. Of course, he hauled in a big 31-yarder on that final drive engineered by Eli Manning in the win over the 49ers last week.
Yeah.
So, everybody laughed at Odell, said we're going to try to win 8 in a row to end the year.
Yep.
And they have a 3-point lead right now with just a little bit more than 3.5 to go.
Now, how about Eli responding to Pat Shurmur's challenge? I mean, Pat Shurmur, you got to start scoring or it's over. That's what he said without saying it. And he's responding today. How about this? 16 to 17 for 228.
Barkley to the 5-yard line. Nearly broke through the tackle of Nassib.
So explosive through the hole. Let's take a look again. Now you have Riley Bullitt in there at middle linebacker, and they just get a hat on a hat, and they're winning the line of scrimmage. And it looks to me like that Tampa Bay front might be a little bit tired. I'm looking down on the huddle, and a lot of guys have hands on hips. And even as an offensive player, I remember talking to quarterbacks about this and coaches. If they see defensive linemen with hands on hips, they're going to run the football because those guys are just a little bit slower out of their stance. Time to make a play again, guys. You're Tampa Bay. You're all right. Let's go. Fight. Start clawing the ball. First man secure the tackle. Second man tackle the football. Rip it out. Saquon, protect the ball.
118. What's it?
Good tackle.
There's Darius Taylor on the stop of Barkley. And now an injured Buccaneer on the play.
Steve, is that
that's JPP?
Yeah. Such a good surge by the offensive line, and we'll see if we can see what happened with JPP right here. Again, so many times we see when guys almost like doing the splits, and it's just a lot of bodies and a lot of weight and guys falling on you. And it's good to see him up and walking off the field in a nice ovation.
Yep.
As he well deserved by this. And I love seeing that, guys running off the field.
Gave him a lot of great football. Classy move to give him a nice round of applause.
Well, that looked like it could have been a lot worse than it was. My goodness.
All right, 3rd down and a yard. They can get a first down here. Barkley will find the end zone, a touchdown.
There's no north-south. That's about 4-4, white 4-3s running straight ahead. You know, I've played against guys like Saquon, and I might as well try to tackle a Volkswagen because it's the same thing, built like that. Just good surge. Look at all this space on the 1 yard line. Guys are late. The offensive line, we talk about playing with confidence, playing tough. They've been able to run the football, Tom, and nothing more than an offensive lineman loves to do than run the ball. That's their reward.
And what a day it has been for Saquon Barkley. 139 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Barkley also with the receiving touchdown in the game today. There's a penalty flag down on the point after.
At the end of the play, it's a dead ball, personal foul on the kicking team, number 63. 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. The try is good.
That's their right tackle, Chad Wheeler. Let's send it back to Los Angeles to Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. Just a friendly reminder of what's coming up next. America's Game of the Week. The Eagles looking to rebound after their loss to the Cowboys. Tough place to do it in New Orleans against the hottest team right now, the NFL's #1 scoring offense led by that man, Drew Brees. It's all coming up next. Joe, Troy, and Aaron have the call.
All righty, Carissa, thank you. Stick around for that. Fox doubleheader. Boy, what a week it's going to be here on Fox. Coming right back at you, of course, on Thursday, Thanksgiving. And indeed, so much to be thankful for. And certainly wish you and your family, friends, a happy, healthy, safe Thanksgiving weekend.
Tom,
right into college football Saturday and the NFL Sunday.
Talked to Eli Manning on Friday, and I just asked him this question because I want to. How do you handle all the ups and downs, the roller coasters, the criticisms? He said, seriously, Chris? I've been the quarterback for the New York Giants for 15 years.
Right.
I got pretty thick skin, and he does. And he's had a great day today. A lot of that's because they run the football so effectively.
It's a great kickoff after a 15-yard penalty. It's brought back out to the 35. But here's a guy you were talking about going back to his college days, Saquon Barkley.
The fact that he's so decisive. He was talking about this during the week. I need to not trust so much on being smart, but run more instinctive. And there's no better way to run more instinctive than that last run. Put that 1 foot in the ground, make a cut, and be a straight ahead Ed. And that's what he was right there. And that's what he's been all day. That's why Pat Shurmur sat him down and watched movies of Latavius Murray and Dalvin Cook and how they hit the hole, one cut and go, get 5 yards instead of trying to get 90 yards.
Jameis throws, and it's caught by Humphries. First down. Let's go to Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. I showed you that Julio Jones touchdown to tie it up. Well, Cowboys found themselves in field goal range. Brett Maher hits the 42-yard game-winning field goal. Cowboys improve to 5-5. Tom?
How about that? See the Cowboys on Thanksgiving here on Fox. They'll take on the Redskins. Redskins are trailing with 4.5 to go, 23-21 at home against Houston. Boy, there's some really tight games today coming down to the wire. All over the league.
Guys are playing for playoff contention, playing for lives, playoff contention lives.
Quick out. Jackson a step short of a first down. Bring up 3rd and 1. This game's not over. Now the Buccaneers are out of timeouts. You have, of course, a 2-minute warning. And it's still a 2-possession game.
Here we go.
Winston will convert his 4th straight 3rd down opportunity since coming into this game. And now he's trying to get him up there in a hurry. Out of timeouts. Needing a touchdown and then a stop. Great, the tight end, incomplete.
Job of Michael Thomas finishing the play, not just pushing him out of bounds, but by doing a simple fundamental of wrapping people up. When you wrap people up, good things can happen. Why? This is just, you know, I know I harp on this all the time, But Michael Thomas, number 31, is going to be right here. Now, he could just go push him out of bounds, right? He doesn't. He goes and wraps his arms. By wrapping his arms, he's able to strip the ball just by making a form tackle. Simple, I know, but true, I also know.
Four-man rush and looking for a wide open receiver, and that is a touchdown to Mike Evans. And lo and behold, how about Jameis Winston? 4 touchdown drives for Winston since coming into this game.
So I have no idea that in this situation why you are not deep as the deepest. He's turning inside. He's lazy out of his back pedal. He's thinking he has help. There is no help, and that's a mental breakdown. You're playing with 2 minutes to go. You're up 10. You don't care about the stat getters underneath. You care about nothing over your head ever. That's a mental error, a bad mental error.
It's a couple guys that have been around the block too, in Janoris Jenkins and Landon Collins.
You see, they were looking at each other too after the play. That's a miscommunication or lazy, one of the two, and I'm going to bet on miscommunication.
Now the point after to get within 3, and it is good. So with 2:22 to go, Tampa Bay out of timeouts, but we will have a stoppage at the 2-minute warning. So, you know, here we have, if not the worst, one of the 2 worst defenses in all the National Football League in Tampa Bay. It's been a struggle all year long. They fired a defensive coordinator, Mike Smith, early in the year. Here they've given up 38 today. They had a chance a minute ago to come up with a stop. They're going to get another chance now.
Yeah, they have opportunity, and you think about it, they probably have to go onside kick here now with no timeouts left and only 1 stoppage. You go onside kick, and we'll see what Cairo Santos does. Just signed off the street. How's his sideline or his onside kick ability? Can he get that one big giant hop? Give yourself a chance.
Of course, he had spent time earlier this year with the LA Rams after their outstanding kicker Zerline was injured.
Yep.
Had to miss a few games.
He had a good week in practice. He had a good week kicking field goals. Been solid today as far as extra points go. Can he get that one hop, that big hop that he needs?
All right, well, here we go. Believing this will be forthcoming. And a timeout is going to be called by the Giants.
So you have your bigger players out there in your onside kick receiving unit. You have your tight ends out there with good hands. Evan Ingram being a target.
Well, I mean, Jameis Winston has stepped in and just gone off. He did have the fumble down here. It was recovered by Evans. Well, they got a touchdown run from Barber after that. A 3rd drive, it was a touchdown throw into the arms of Humphries. And then 6 plays, 41 yards to Evans. 4 drives for Jameis Winston, the former #1 pick and a 3-year starter for this franchise.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns.
Well, the other thing too, Tom, they got some bounces their way, right? Missed opportunities on interceptions. Jameis fumbles the ball. Mike Evans is there to recover it for a touchdown. Execution of this. Get that one big hop. I don't know what that was.
It's handled by Penny. Or Thomas, Michael Thomas, I beg your pardon.
I'm not sure if he missed that or if that's what he was trying to do.
Well, you're going to have a stoppage. You know they're going to run it. And they'll give it to Barkley. And he picks up 3. This will run all the way down to the 2-minute warning before the Giants will have to snap it with 2 minutes to go on a 2nd down. 2-minute warning. Tampa Bay still with a puncher's chance. Down by 3.
By Bud Light, reminding you to not drink and ride your horse.
Jameis Winston for a second time this year, replacing Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he's played very well. 4 touchdown drives. Giants 38 points, the most since Week 8 in 2015. Big days for Manning and Barkley. Second down, and this will be a stop. Let's go to Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. So the Panthers were trailing 2013 when Cam will find DJ Moore for this 8-yard touchdown. So they're down 1. They decide to go for 2 and don't get it. Lions up 20-19 with a minute left. Tom?
Well, it makes you wonder, why are you going for 2 there?
I don't know.
I mean,
I think I tie it. Yeah. Personal choice to me.
It's a huge play here. They pitch it to Barkley on a 3rd down, and he is chopped down. So now with a play clock, this will get us right down to around 35 seconds or so before they'll have to punt it. It'll be 30 seconds if they use the whole thing. And I would imagine they'll just let it expire, take a 5-yard penalty, and then punt it. Today's game is produced by Mark Titleman and directed by Greg Scopatone, our associate director, New York's very own Alex Olson, and our broadcast associate Kyle Wu. Michael Nathanson, native New Yorker, our technical producer, and our technical director, Dane Crawford. Thank up here our entire crew as always, and in the booth, Tom Barbary, Scott Snyder. So they do take the delay of game penalty.
They bring in Deshaun Jackson, Tom, to return, trying to set something up. And of course, Deshaun Jackson.
That's why they're going.
Yeah. Does have some success.
Well, we brought it up earlier, back in 2010, the year this place opened up. Final game of the year, final play of the game. Jackson then with Philadelphia returned a punt for a touchdown, which eliminated the Giants from going to the playoffs. And he has 2 career punt returns for touchdowns against New York. He won't have a chance here. All right, 23 seconds left. Of course, it was November the 19th of '78, miracle at the Meadowlands. Joe Pisarcik botched the handoff to Larry Zonka. Herm Edwards, 26 yards, a game-winning touchdown.
I think that's when victory formation was created, when he started putting extra guys and wide receivers in the backfield because of that play.
Welcome in those of you who have been dialed in elsewhere. 23 seconds remain. They need to get to the 35 roughly to get to where Santos has hit his career best from 53 yards out. And Jameis to air it out, looking for Deshaun Jackson, and it's intercepted by BWL.
I don't blame Jameis for this. You got to take a shot, and this time the Giants, unlike the last series, were prepared and understanding game situation. Deepest on the staff. B.W. Webb is going to start getting depth, understanding that the fastest guy, one of the fastest guys on the field, Deshaun Jackson, is going to go. And B.W. Webb does a good job of going at high point of football to secure the victory for the New York Giants.
4 more turnovers today for Tampa Bay.
Minus 23 on the year.
Giants winning consecutive games for the first time since weeks 14 and 15 of the 2016 season. It's their first home win this year. Winston played beautifully today in relief of Fitzpatrick. But another big day for Eli Manning. 17 of 18, 231, a couple of touchdowns, and Barkley 3 touchdowns. Stay tuned for the State Farm Game Break Show. It's coming up right now from Los Angeles. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.